hello, my silky friends. How are you doing? Yeah, okay. A couple of things. I haven't been on here for a while. I know that. And also, my schedule is insane. I was going to do this tonight, and then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it now. I'm going to do it right now. Just throw all caution to the wind. And today is my mom's birthday, so I've got to be off here in about an hour ish. I've got to take her to lunch. Um, and I know most of you will catch this on the replay. That is okay. That is okay. Um, I know my tongue is blue. Another story. It's probably going to be blue every time I'm on here, especially in the mornings. Um, but yeah, there's a case that was brought up to me, and I thought I'm going to look into it. And the more I looked into it, the more confused I got and the more horrified I got of what might have happened to these twins in Georgia. So we're going to talk about that. Good morning, Samantha. Good to see you. Hope you're doing okay. Um, yeah. So I ignore the blue tongue. Happy birthday to Mama Silky. I'll have to tell her that. She's going to say, what? Yeah, so ignore the blue tongue. I just took some medication. It's all good. It's good medication. But it unfortunately has this side effect. So anyway, yeah, I just want to let y'all know I'm just before we get into this news story, I haven't been covering Delphi. And unless I do a live with somebody, I probably won't for a while. I don't even know. I'm revamping some things. I'm going to change my set, the whole 9 yards. But let me start. Have y'all heard? Let me just ask you. I know some of y'all who are regulars in chat. I know some of you are from Georgia. I'm from Alabama. And when I say the more you look into this case, the crazier it gets. And there's not a lot of information. That is the problem. There's not a whole lot of people talking. I have scoured the internet looking for stuff on this case. But let me start with, let's change to media. Okay, let me introduce to you, I'm going to make this really big for just a second. Let me introduce these lovely young men. Oh, let me see if I can fix this where you can see them. These lovely young men. Oh, you can't see it. Never mind. This is Qaadir. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Qaadir and Naazir Lewis. They are from Georgia, North Georgia. Now, if you have heard of this case at all, please put it in the comments because I see some of y'all lurking back there. Say hello. Say hello. But yeah, let's get into this. Now, this actually happened on March 7th is where the whole story begins. And let me go here where I can find it for you. Okay. Let me just tell you something. And I'm just going to say this as a human, as a Southern person, as whatever. Who did this? Our final call. I don't know what kind of leaning this is. Actually, let me change this because yeah, that was actually the last one. All right, let me make sure you can see this one. There is a lot to this story. All right. Okay, so here are, and we're going to get into a little bit more about the twins, what they were doing, like the kind of people that they were. But this is what we heard, okay? This was the first news, that the twin brothers were found with a bullet unalived on Bell Mountain in Towns County on March 8th, nearly 90 miles from their home. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning of the story, all right? And let me just give you a brief summary. We had these two young gentlemen who were college students, and Now, I have a lot of questions here because I'm not getting any information and I'm not finding any information. And I don't know that anybody's trying to cover anything up. I don't know that they're not. But, there's just things I want to know. Hey, Buckeye, Cyber Warrior, Cyber Warrior. I'm afraid I'm yelling. I'm too close to the mic. Good to see you, Carol. Hello, hello. Good morning to all y'all. Okay, so here's the thing. These young men were about to board a plane to Boston. They're, I think, at 7 a.m. It was a very early flight. Now, this is on March 7th of 2025. Their car, to my understanding, they did not feel like their car was, I can't remember. They're not that far from Atlanta, okay? It's really not that far. But they felt like, and especially if you ever, like, you're going to catch a flight, you mean to be there, you want to make sure you're going to make it. And I've had cars that I'm like, I don't know, it's iffy and I don't want to miss my flight. So what they decided to do, and plus I have parked at Atlanta airport. It's not that bad leaving your car, but it's not great either. If you want a really safe place, it's expensive to park your car there and fly off somewhere. I've done it many, many times. Um, but they were trying to get to the airport to leave at 7 a.m. So they decided to take an Uber because, of course, that would guarantee them and save them money probably in the long run. And from my understanding, and I can't find this in direct newspaper articles, I'm finding this in other people comments and stuff. The Uber driver was late when he got there, and it looked traffic that time in Atlanta, insane, insane. So they did not make it to the airport on time. So when they realized they weren't going to make the flight, here is the question that nobody is answering right now. Did the Uber driver drop them at the airport, or did he take them somewhere else? See, I cannot find the answer to this question. So if somebody knows, please let me know. In any case, and this is important because if they were at the airport, there would be footage, right? There would be like the cameras to show them at least walking in or out the door. Now, something else that I found very interesting about this whole scenario is that I don't know how often you've taken flights, but back, I don't know, a bunch of years ago, when I would, I'm saying, man, 10 plus years ago, when I would book online, I would print out the tickets and the boarding pass. They said you can print this out. Well, some of the last times I've flown, they don't want you to do that. They're like, okay, here's the boarding pass and you save it on your phone, because there are these little computer kiosks that you can really just hold up that QR code or whatever kind of ticket, whatever it looks like. You can hold it up and they can see it. Okay, so that is saving you some time. Now, me being an older person, when I have done it by printing out the tickets, but it is also, even me now, I don't even bother to print out the tickets unless I just want a safeguard in case something happens to my phone. You know what I'm saying? Um, they had printed tickets in their wallet that were unused, which, in my opinion, I find that a bit odd. Unless it was a backup, because you go through the plane terminal now, you just have it on your phone. Pick it up, scan it, done, right? Okay, so being that they were only 20 or about to be 20, I think it's unlikely that unless someone printed them for them and just said, hey, here's a backup, why would you have tickets in your wallet? Okay, so that's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of just put that on a shelf. I think that's odd. Now, these boys, we don't really know at this point, did they actually get into the airport or did they not? What we do know is they missed their flight. Now, some sources have said that the airlines gave them a ticket again for March 8th. So they missed it on the 7th and they rescheduled them for the 8th. I can't find that unless it's somewhere in this stuff that we're going to look through. I couldn't find a positive on that. So then the next day, they are found way away. All right, let's skip all this because the day of the 7th is very convoluted, even for the family, so far as we've heard. Like, we don't really know what happened after they missed their plane flight. What we do know is on March 8th at 11 a.m., they were found on the top of Bell Mountain, which is 90 miles away in an opposite direction. Okay, their car is there. Now, the family says they weren't hikers, like they weren't, nature people. Okay, it wasn't like a place they'd normally go. Now, Bell Mountain is kind of a tourist attraction, but it's very primitive, comparatively to our state parks, the places that I go to. Because in the state parks that I'm familiar with, there is internet service. Not always where I am, because I tend to be very, very remote as possible. So a lot of times I don't have cell service until I get back to like the main part of the like the lodge and stuff like that. But I'm sure they have cameras and things. This park did not. Now, what was odd is when the bodies were found, and they were found by a hiker, the police immediately said this is an unaliving slash self-unaliving. In other words, their theory was one brother unalived the other and then unalived himself. But when you look at this story and you listen to the family, they're like, no way. These brothers were tight. They were like this. They were twins. They did everything together. A lot. Of course, they were going to different colleges, but the bond was there. And as far as the family knows, there was no beef. They would absolutely not handle things in this way. And I think it's very important to listen to what the family has to say. Let me see y'all real quick. Hey, Kib Kitty. How are you doing? Aw, thank you. Well, you catch the replay. Yeah. Okay, good. I hope you're feeling well. When you see this, Kib Kitty, you might already be gone. But when you see this, I hope you are doing well as well. Health-wise and every which way. So good to see ya. Happy late Mother's Day, by the way. And to all y'all beautiful people. Hello, nobody nothing. Good to see ya. Good to see you. All right, so here we are. The family says this is impossible, the police scenario, but it gets worse and it gets very convoluted. So I really want to see what y'all are thinking when we come into the details of this, because like I said, the more I found out, the less sense anything in this case means. And I don't feel like it's getting the attention that it should. And I'm afraid that in the case, because of, I don't know, maybe perceptions, maybe just other coverage, maybe they don't want to cover it. I feel like this case could easily go, under the radar unless people are out here talking. And that's what we do on YouTube. We highlight stuff. We hammer down on stuff, put pressure on so that somebody does something about this. So let's go back to this news article. Now it says, see right here, it says they initially believed the preliminary investigation pointed to this one story. Loved ones are not buying this. Okay, so Samira and Sabria Bronner, these are aunts of the twins, told Fox 5 that investigators with the GBI showed the boy's mother surveillance footage. Okay, they showed it to the mother from a Shell gas station. Now, here we go. Again, nobody that has at least spoken up or has been in print or anywhere really knows what these boys were doing all day when they missed the flight. Now, I mean, they were planning to be gone. We know that the airline says they rescheduled them. So, like, you basically have a day just to whatever, you know? So then there is a surveillance footage, and I have not actually seen the footage because no one is even showing the footage. Even these live news reports are not showing the footage. But it says the video was recorded around 10 p.m. on March 7th. So that's that night that they missed the flight. Okay, so at 10 p.m. on the 7th, we know they're okay. They're at a Shell station, and somewhere it said it was about 9 minutes from their home. So they are clearly back from Atlanta, and they're, just kind of hanging around. In this video, it shows them going into the store, they're drinking water, having snacks, just normal, it looks normal. And the family actually says now they have more questions than answers because the boys were not far from home and just kind of chilling, right? Snacking, doing whatever. They said they were dressed like they would normally dress, nothing bizarre. Okay, nothing out of the ordinary. So at 10, they're fine. At 11, the next morning is when their bodies are discovered. It says, despite GBI's initial findings, family members strongly suspect foul play, as do I. If it's not, I'm going to be shocked because this is ridiculous. Now, let's go back to another thing. So a few weeks, I think it's a few weeks after that, uh, a firefighter was there when the bodies were discovered. And they call for EMS or whomever. There's a firefighter. Oh my God, y'all, this is horrible. He's taking pictures of these kids. All right, I don't really know that that's a firefighter's job. Isn't that, like the crime scene people or whatever? But anyway, he's out there taking pictures. These pictures get shared with some even high school students back in their town. These are shared on social media. What the heck? So, I mean, when I first heard this part, I'm like, okay, well, he's guilty, right? They did arrest him. Now, they're not charging him with the perpetration of the crime only, as we all know, if we've covered, Delphi and these other things, you don't share crime scene photos, okay? You don't do that kind of thing. That is illegal. You cannot, violent and whatever. And I don't know what state the boys were in either. So, they get shared. The fireman gets arrested and fired. Well, at least. That's the least. I cannot imagine what kind of monster does this, sharing crime scene photos of someone's kids. And yes, they are over 18, but still they are, they're very young and children. Like, what's wrong with you? Seriously, guy, what is wrong with you? It's infuriating. Mental cases out here. Yeah, these are your public servants, and I say that loosely, but it really, really, it just what was the southern expression? It got my gizzard. It really did. Got stuck right in my craw. Uh, Gotta know southern lingo for that. If you know, you know. Anyway, yeah, I was so furious at this, but they have said he didn't have anything to do with the actual crime. Now, let me see what y'all are saying. Um, uh, let's see. So now, here are some problems that we have, okay? The problem with this whole incident on the 8th. Okay, again, remember, they had car problems. They didn't feel like their car was safe. They take an Uber. But now their car is fine. is found 90 miles away up in the mountains. Which, if you have an unreliable car, why are you going to the mountains? Because that's the last, especially a remote place like this, that is the last place you want to break down, right? And if you are not safe going 32 miles or something like that to Atlanta, then how are you going up on Bell Mountain? But here's the kicker. The Bell Mountain facility closes its gates at 8 p.m. Okay? And it's locked. Now, is it possible for maybe off-road people to find a way in? Maybe. But the main roads, everything, the gates are locked because it is very primitive. They don't have all the facilities that people would and amenities that people would want. It's kind of just like a protected area with trails and lookouts and stuff. It's not. A lot of people go there hiking from all over the place. The hikers do, but it's not like a place that you can go like our state park. You can go to the lodge. You can have a meal. It's very nice. There are a lot of things that you can do. That's not this place. Okay, Bell Mountain closes its gates at 8, but at 10 p.m. the night prior, they would have been locked out, right? They're at the Shell station. I don't know. I have not seen conclusively if they said they were in their car. I am assuming they were in their car, but who knows? Regardless, at 10 p.m. they're fine. Gates closed on Bell Mountain. So how is your car and everything found at 11 the next day? Because they're saying they haven't even given an estimated time of death. But why would you be going up there? Let's just say, I think maybe they open at 8 or something in the morning. I think that's in one of these articles. Even if you went up there, why would you be going up there when you've got a flight? Okay, you've got a flight to Boston. Now, we have not heard from any of the Boston people saying they called and said they missed the flight. And, like, I have heard from nobody. And when I tell you, it is like pulling teeth to try to find stuff on the internet about this case. I don't know anything, just the vague reports. But the math ain't mathin' here, because you're not going to be up there when the gates open. Where were you all night? At 10, you're just drinking water and eating snacks, whatever. Found the next day. Park is closed. You've got a flight the next morning. You see, this don't add up. It's like, this is insanity. What would drive, and the kids aren't outdoor kids anyway. They're not interested in this kind of stuff, you know? So why would you go up there either at dark 30 at night or, at the crack of dawn in the morning? Why would you go to the top of the hiking trail? Like, why would you go to the top of Bell Mountain? I don't know why I can't say that. Let's see what y'all are saying. Yeah, there you go, Samantha. It burns my biscuits. It does. It burns my biscuits. This whole thing is crazy. Hey, big fish, small pond. How are you doing? Good to see you. Buckeye says, in my opinion, some good old boys of the bad sort had something to do with this. That is a lot of, there is a lot of suspicion, okay, that could have happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't understand how you get from home all the way there when you know your own territory. Hey, Four Pits, how are you doing? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well, staying safe and enjoying life. Yeah, I thought about that, carjacking maybe. And now they're saying they're not releasing footage of. They did release footage of them at that gas station though, unless there's more to it that we don't know. But it was never. You would think that in the beginning they would have said, okay, they already ruled it one thing, and then, but within a day or so, the gas station, would have said, and it's like I was talking to a lady I work with. She says, twins. You might not remember one person. Both of these were nice looking guys, but you might not remember a random person. But when you see two of the same person, like at the airport, at the gas station, and stuff like that, you remember twins. So I would think that in this area, when you say all of a sudden these twins were found on Bell Mountain, somebody at the gas station, if it had been a carjacking or something like that, would have immediately said, well, first of all, you would have called the police anyway, but you would have said, hey, wait, I saw these two guys, and I remember I saw them because they're twins, and you can't not look at twins like you just do. So I'm like, I don't know if it was from the gas station, but that's the last place that we saw them. Now, let me see. Um, Now, they said that they're continuing to investigate the case, awaiting forensic test results. And let me see. Let me show you that. Let me get back to this page so y'all can see what I'm looking at. All right. So let's go to, this is the one that shows, that says it shows the video, but it never actually does. Let me change this up so you can see it. All right. Okay. Again, here is their picture. And like I did see a interview with their aunts who are also twins. Obviously, twins run in that family, but they they said like it makes no sense. Really, after seeing the whole thing, they're like, we don't even like, it's even crazier now. Okay, and this is where the family have said that they also learned that the twins took an Uber to the airport. So I don't know, did they live, again, so many questions. Did they live together? Were they living with family, college students? It's expensive out here. I would think that they would have been living with somebody, but maybe they were in the dorms at their respective colleges. I don't know. But if they were with family, the family would have known beforehand, hey, we're planning to take an Uber up there, but whatever. But here you see, uh, they now have several questions, like how the two young men drove their unreliable car to Bell Mountain and managed to get inside of the gates of the facility. Now, this says it closes at 9, but I read from their website where they said they close at 8. Still, it doesn't, and this says 10:30 at the gas station. 10, 10:30, 9, it doesn't matter. The gates were closed. In any scenario, the gates were closed when they were at the gas station. Um, and Samira Bronner, that's their aunt, says they pretty much walked inside the gas station and walked out. And, that's all. That's all she saw. Okay. Now they're saying that the autopsies are both complete. Again, this happened in March, but I have seen nothing about a releasing of information. The medical examiner is declining to officially rule on both manner and cause of death for the teens, pending additional forensic tests. Well, how do you decline to officially say it was with a pew pew? Because this is what they said. One used the weapon on the other and then himself. Wouldn't that be obvious? So why are you saying that? I mean, you could at least say the cause of death is, all the other details I understand, but I'm like, you're not saying nothing. Well, that makes no sense to me, but whatever. Um, Okay, deputies with the town's county sheriff's office were the first to arrive on the scene on March 8th and found that both teens had suffered those kind of wounds. All right, again, that should that's your cause of death. Those deputies then alerted the GBI, and based on a preliminary investigation, the two agencies said they believed the unalivings resulted from what I had said earlier. Families like, no, my nephews wouldn't do this. They come from a family of love, and twins wanted so much for their future. They had dreams of starting their very own clothing line. Okay, now here is another whole possible scenario. So remember this. They had dreams of starting their very own clothing line, but what they were in college for had nothing to do with clothing, and we'll get there in just a second. But hey, everybody has a hustle or a dream. Maybe they're like, we're gonna get a degree in this and hope that we can do something different. They do have a GoFundMe. Um, Yasmin said that the two teens had no connection to Bell Mountain, which is located 90 miles north of their home. Let's see. We already know the gas station was close. And she says, we are not going to sweep this case up under the rug. We want to know the truth of what happened to Qaadir and Naazir. So our family, and I have heard that pronounced Qaadir and Naazir. I don't know. So I'm sorry if any of y'all know them. I'm doing the best I can. Okay. I don't know. It is so many unanswered questions that keeps us up at night. Yeah. The older sister of the two brothers is also rejecting the initial assertion from authorities about their deaths. They were a bright light on some of my darkest days and were some of my biggest supporters. Okay. Now let's go to this one. Okay. I don't know. Okay, this by the final call. I don't know who this is. I don't know if it is I don't know why this is mentioned unless it is a race specific publication. I don't know. But the staff writer is Muhammad Anisa. Y'all can see that. But I didn't like the way this is worded. Atlanta, a black Georgia family is still seeking answers. I mean, I don't like that. I don't like that because I think it's unnecessary. Um, it's a Georgia family like any other. Why we unless you want to make unless statistically you want to make a point. I didn't like that. Like they're a family. Like mine, like the people next door, down the street, whatever, they're a family. Uh, unless there is a racial motivation, which we don't know that that's true yet either. So, I mean, let's not go there. Okay, so they were 19. Here there is some more information. Now, the brothers had lived in Lawrenceville, Gwinnett County, Georgia, according to a news release by the GBI. Here's where we get it's about 32 miles northeast of downtown Atlanta. Now, the airport is obviously not in downtown Atlanta, and I'm not sure what I've been there so many times, but y'all, Atlanta is huge. I don't know. I know how I get there. It's a long drive. Even when I hit Atlanta, it's a long drive for me to the airport. So I don't know how many miles, but certainly if you don't want to drive in Atlanta with your car, you're not going to Bell Mountain. I might actually go there when we have a good day. That's kind of interesting. Y'all think I should go to Bell Mountain and look around? Kind of interested. Okay, so on March 6th, they were at their, okay, here we go. They were at their sister's house in Chamblee, Georgia, before heading back to their home in Lawrenceville, where they lived with their father and stepmom. Okay, that's good. That's good. On March 7th, they had a flight to Boston. Again, according to the family, missed the flight, or the Uber missed the flight. And here's my question too. Why isn't somebody talking to the Uber guy? I'm not saying by any means he or she had anything to do with it, but wouldn't you want to confirm? Wouldn't some of these news stations want to interview the Uber and say, hey, what time did you pick them up? What time did you last see them? Did you drop them at the airport? Did y'all just turn around and you dropped them somewhere else? Like, did you hear them say, I mean, the Uber guy, did you hear them saying anything about, especially, when they knew they were going to miss the flight, about other plans? Why are we not hearing from him? Why is there nothing? Why is Uber guy not speaking? This is weird to me. And I'm not saying there's anything nefarious about it. I mean, but are people asking him questions, or is he just like, well, I wish somebody had asked me something? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so again, from 7 a.m. to 10:30, we have nobody really saying they hung out with them, what happened, they saw them. We do know at 10:30. 11 the next day, they were found on the top of the mountain. Because, even if you're going to take a trip and you just want to see something different, which does not sound like something that these boys were going to do, but let's say for some reason you decided to take a drive, why are you going to the top of the mountain? If you are in the park, I don't know, where it starts, but like at our state parks, usually start at the bottom of the mountain. You go up. I don't know. Why are you going to chance it in a car? No, it makes no sense. Okay, now so even if you're going to go for some crazy reason, Bell Mountain is about 117 miles from the airport. So again, why are you going almost 120 miles in an opposite direction when you know you've got to be on a flight on March 8th? Doesn't make sense. Well, it says it's about 87 miles still. Oh, from Lawrenceville. Yeah, so 90 miles from them. The family held a private funeral for the twins on March 28th. They would have turned 20 on April 5th. Wow, that's so sad. Okay, now here we're talking about what the twins were doing. Naazir was attending Gwinnett. I don't know if it's Gwinnett or Gwinnett. I can't remember. I've heard this before, but I don't know. The technical college for the automotive technology program, and Qaadir was attending the Aviation Institute of Maintenance in Gwinnett County. I think that's right. So they both had 1 year of college left and had dreams of owning their own business. Let's see. Okay, this sentence. The news that's been put out by the family is also disturbing because it conflicts with what the original authorities of that community have said. So what did they say? Oh, okay. The family doesn't believe what the authorities said. Okay, I get it. Sorry, I had a moment. It says shortly after the discovery, they made that announcement. This is what happened. Yeah, I don't think anybody should do that. I mean, even if it looks like cut and dried, I really think you need to have an autopsy and you need to find out more information because it's not always what it looks like. And just like in the case of Micah Miller, I do not believe that her self-unaliving was exactly as it looked either. Probably nothing like it, but whatever. People, they want to make it, a lot of times investigators or whatever just want to make it simple, cut and dried, case closed, we done. Well, that's not justice for families, is it? I mean, sometimes it is what it looks like, but said they were very protective of each other. They're inseparable. I couldn't imagine them hurting each other because I've never seen them get into a fist fight before. which is almost crazy to me because I have two sons. They're 18 months apart. Uh, they fought like, I don't know, crazy when they were little. I was really afraid that somebody was going to get seriously hurt. They fought all the time. So to have, and twins often have a different kind of relationship, but yeah, I think that's very admirable that they weren't like that. Okay, yeah, all the questions we've been asking. Um, they don't do any type of hiking or anything like that. So for them to be found passed away in that particular part of the state is just very troubling. All right. Now, here we go. Here's the guy, the infamous firefighter. On March 18th, the GBI arrested and charged volunteer firefighter Scott Curlin, 42 of Hiawassee, with misdemeanor obstruction for taking photos of the death scene and sharing them publicly. I think Mr. Curlin should be shamed publicly, and I know his picture has been on there. Again, what's wrong with you? Um, Okay, they're still saying that it's an active and ongoing case, but like when I say there's nothing, look, I even resorted to going to Reddit, and I heard all of these people talking about, and I don't even know if I can say it on YouTube. I don't know what I can say. The kind of towns they were talking about earlier, and I'm not saying that maybe some places are like that still. I I don't know. Other people on Reddit were saying no, not in this area. It could be middle or southern Georgia. I'm appalled. I didn't know that there were any towns like that anymore. Uh, Insanity. Even in my small area in Alabama, we don't have any towns like that. That's ridiculous. Okay. And they're saying because the area is predominantly white, well, I see where that has been a problem in the past, certainly. And I'm not saying it can't happen now, but just making somewhere predominantly white does not mean that they're predominantly that kind of person. All right. I mean, I guess you could call my area, which we have a lot of Hispanic population now, and we are getting a Haitian population as well. But I would still say my area is predominantly white, yet this isn't a problem, okay? It's not even anything anybody thinks about, to my knowledge. Certainly nobody says anything if they think it. So it would not be tolerated here. Um, okay, so they go on and this is talking about, so I'm guessing that maybe this news uh, agency or whatever this is kind of maybe leaning towards that. There's a lot of stuff in here that talks about it's more divisive, I guess, in some ways, but it has some really good information and it's not untrue. Okay, I'm not saying it's untrue. It's just I just don't like when things are written from a perspective like we're people, we all bleed red. um Okay, so, and they go on talking about things that happened in the 70s. Yeah, it's 2025. And I just want to let people know a lot. I think Alabama in general is pretty darn progressive. We don't even think about it. Most of us have no opinion one way or another. It's like people are people. Um, let's see. Now, this talks about the park. Let me see. Let me stop for a second and see what y'all are saying because I haven't been seeing your comments. Um, yeah, you don't see twins that much, Cyber Warrior and Buckeye. Yeah, two sets of twins. You do. You recognize twins. Uh, Okay, Emerald. Hey, Emerald. Good to see ya. Oh no, I call BS. Me too. Just awful. Whatever happened to them, and blame it on them. Yeah, yeah. This is what made me so. And again, when I first started looking at this case, I was like, okay, um, this is interesting. It's nearby, and but I thought it was a tragic case, but I didn't see the twists and turns. Okay, until I started trying to get more information. I'm like, this is insanity, absolute insanity. Um, yes, Cyber Warrior, I agree. I think race is not important to mention unless you're describing a missing person or a suspect. Exactly. Only when it is necessary. I agree. Um, oh, Samantha, I won't. You know, I wouldn't go at dark. I wouldn't go, and I certainly wouldn't tell anybody when I was going. Um, but I mean, I feel like it would probably be safe, and I wouldn't go alone either. Has the cell phone records for the two boys been checked? Would be my first question. Well, that's one of my first questions too. And the cell phone, which is something else. The boys are found in outside of the car. My understanding, I guess, on the ground, whatever. Their cell phones were in the car. Again, not a whole lot of information here, but yeah, their cell phones would be the very first thing because that is also going to show you where those phones pinged. What were they doing all day? Did they meet up with somebody? How did they get, how and when did they leave for Bell Mountain? For pets, I drove up Howard's. Is that no? Last week just to take pictures. When I got to the top, the gate was closed. Well, apparently it's it's open during the day, which I get. Um, which the state park near me is very big and very touristy, and we have like a gate. It's never closed. We have like a guardhouse out there all the time actually, and but it's not. You can drive past them. Uh, it's very um actually it's very bougie. Okay, the state park that's nearest to me. Not all of them are. There's a few that are near me, but the closest is very bougie. Um, okay. Yeah, there are a lot of discussions of those towns on YouTube. I did see that, Buckeye, and I was reading that yesterday, and I'm like, okay, I saw a lot of people saying different things. Some saying yes, that area is this kind of town, and then I saw a lot of people saying you're crazy. It's not that way because of the many people that go through there, which I mean, I don't know. I'm not from Georgia. Lovely state, but I'm not from there. And all I can say it is to my knowledge, the bigger cities, and I've been to all the big cities and driving through them and around them. In Alabama, any place that is certainly within 30 something miles of a big place, a big city, you have like all of our cities are like melting pots. You've got all kind of people there anyway. And it is not as I've never noticed or heard anybody say anything that was like that when you live close to a big city. Now, like what I found on Reddit is some people saying, "Oh, yes, they may exist those kind of towns, but they, like I said, going to be further south, going to be very rural, maybe even in the middle of the state where like nobody, unless you live there, what you go into mid Georgia for." Um, I could see that in very small rural places that have not really changed much in the last 90 years. I could see the possibility of that kind of thing. In places close to cities, though, that would be mind-boggling to me. So you're saying, Emerald, it most definitely goes on in a lot of places. I'm just gonna say, I'm glad I don't live in those places. I that is, there's too many things too many things wrong to worry about something, in my opinion, that's so trivial. Like what color's your skin? I ain't got time for that. Yes, I think so too, Buckeye. The most sus thing is the fireman who posted these pictures. Why would anyone do that? Exactly. Unless you're going to try to sell them, or are you trying to intimidate? Like, why? And then if you're going to sell them, and I'm not saying that this is okay, but if you're going to sell something like that, wouldn't you go on the dark web? Why are you selling it? Why are you even showing it to people who know them or potentially know them? This is just horrible. I think he should be put under the jail for that. Again, what did I say? What's your name, Curlin? What is wrong with you? Let's see. I definitely call foul play. At that age, those boys wouldn't breathe without a cell phone. Yes, yeah, 100%. And it's like, again, we were having this discussion at work, and the lady I was talking to, were both saying that same thing. And she said maybe they had Apple Watches. She feels like everybody has an Apple Watch. I don't have an Apple Watch. I have a knockoff, and I really don't even hardly ever use it. But it's true that young people do use them. And I said, well, if they had Apple Watches, then I could see them leaving a cell phone in a car, unless that is where they were unalived. I don't know. But yeah, you'd have your cell phone glued to you all the time. Um, uh, Buckeye says, I can envision the day when kids have cell phones implanted in their arm. Like, I can see that. My daughter has a bad history with cell phones. She's been okay with this last one, but man, I can see that. All right, let me make this bigger so y'all can see it. I didn't realize it was so small. Okay. So here are questions. Okay. And I liked this part. Wait, let's go back up here. Um, the county's 18-acre Bell Mountain State Park. Now, to me, if it's only 18 acres, what? That is tiny. That is tiny. My mom has more property than that. And it ain't a state park. Anyway, it's a very small. 18 acres is not much. It has an observation deck, a parking area, and an erected platform for 360-degree views of the mountain. Okay. The park operates daily from 8 a.m. to sunset. All right, so if they couldn't get access the night before, that means they had to go no earlier than 8 a.m. in their plane. They should have already been in Atlanta, right? Nowhere near here. The area is remote and does not have staff, supervision, electricity, or cameras. Towns County Attorney Cadman Rob Kiker Jr. said, according to local Atlanta media outlets. Okay, so they're saying it's 3.6 miles away from downtown Hiawassee. They were found. It says, can you describe the area the twins were found in, and or the area of Bell Mountain? The area is remote wilderness with a steep road that dead ends into a park. It's an overlook providing a panoramic view of the mountain. Let's see. It is remote, accessed by a steep and winding road. Again, you don't take your car up there. Understand there is a gate to prevent vehicular entrance outside of operating. Yes. It says, can you describe the gate and how it works? Does someone physically lock and unlock it, or is it automatic? The gate is manually operated, okay, and inhibits vehicular traffic. The property could be accessed by foot or perhaps off-road vehicles when the gate is closed. Okay, so I go to another state park that has some gates like this. It's not, you can't get your car down there because of the gates. You could walk around the gates, but there has to be, there it's manual key locked. So I don't know if that's how the gates are. That's kind of what I'm envisioning. It's unsupervised. Okay, so this is a very remote place that they wouldn't even be. How would you even know? If you weren't into mountains and stuff, how would you even know this is there? Or were they meeting somebody? All right, let's go. All right. Okay, the family says they're appreciative of all the help. All right, let me go back to wind this up. Something else that occurred to me, and I don't know that this is true or untrue, but remember how they said the twins were interested in starting their own clothing line? It makes me wonder almost if they had been, I don't know, online, maybe looking around, trying to connect with people, see how to, could they have gotten involved with an online scammer? I don't, again, I would like to know the full scope of their trip to Boston. Did it have anything to do with business or, something like that? Or was it just to see friends or family, and who and how long? See, these are questions that I would want to know. But the family, you'd think, okay, if you hadn't heard from them, you think at first that they got on the plane to Boston. Wouldn't you expect to hear from them, at least by late afternoon, a text or something, say, hey, I'm okay. I mean, and maybe they got a text saying that they were missed the flight. I don't know. See, there's so many things that we don't know. You can't put a timeline to this. Um, but it made me wonder if they got some kind of scam or somebody posing as someone that could help them in their business that, they decided to meet up with. Um, because it seems to me, I mean, you got to have motive here. And if it is the kind of place that just wants to wreak havoc and harm people because of these ridiculous reasons, you would first of all think it would happen more often. To me, it's like, how do you get from being close to home at a gas station to somewhere remote that you never go? You have to encounter someone else. So who is the person? And like, they don't have any witnesses. Like, I don't understand. You see what I'm saying? None of this makes any sense. How did you get up there? When did you get up there? The autopsy complete, but they're not releasing anything. I'm very disturbed. The family says that there was no way that these boys were involved in any kind of. Hold on, I lost y'all. How did I lose y'all? They were involved in any kind of substance abuse. Now, look, I don't know. Most college students tend to experiment. Doesn't mean they did. I mean, I didn't. Doesn't mean they did or didn't. But obviously, nobody was seeing signs that they were involved in major ordeals like this. So I don't know. I don't know. Certainly, none of the family has said anything that they had any suspicion. All right. Um, let's see. Um, Organic nature. Hello, organic. Maybe firemen worried about Ellie staging, manipulating the scene. Well, that's a good point. That is a good point. I, hmm, hmm. I mean, I wouldn't say sharing it. I think sharing it is going beyond, unless they were sharing it with people who they felt were safe. Um, if the fireman, then I owe him an apology. If the fireman was doing it to document, but I would think that you would definitely keep that secret. You're really putting a bullet target on your back if you do something like that and you don't keep it quiet. But that is a thought, you know. Um, and that's the thing. Uh, that's the thing. You don't know with any of these. How many cases have we seen of corruption? You have to assume that the law enforcement are trying, you know, ish. They probably have a lot of stuff going on in that area. Are are they just not taking the proper time to really investigate it, or is there another reason? I don't know. With any of these cases, anywhere for any reason, there could be a cover up. It just seems like in this case, the kids weren't involved with anything that anybody knows of that would get them in a mess, such as in a lot of these other cases. They have very strong tangents, right? So I don't know. What do y'all think? Um, like I said, the more you dig in, the more questions you have. Um, if they were, let's just say this was a racial motivation, somebody would have to be very motivated to intercept them in their close to their home and take them 90 miles away. Um, there would have to be a real motive, because that's a long distance. If you're just out for whatever kind of crazy vengeance you have in your head, then you would think you would find somebody closer, right? I don't know. What do y'all think? What do y'all think is the most likely scenario? Um, it's so weird that I have to wonder if there was somebody they were talking to online, maybe a promoter, or I don't know, anybody. So much trafficking, you can't really rule that out either, because these guys were nice looking, they're young. Did they have some other plans for them, and did it not go well and they ended up being unalived? Was it a personal thing? Apparently the family has not named anybody that they had personal beef with that they suspect. This could have happened, because usually when somebody is unalived, you kind of know, well, they were having trouble with this person. I'm not saying they did it, but you look into that. The family has given no indication of anything, so the whole thing is rather bizarre to me. It's just like somebody needs to be talking about this and asking questions, because I'm afraid if not, it's going to be one of those unsolved mysteries that go down, and 20 years from now somebody will pick it up and do a report on it. Hey, back in 2025 these two guys were unalived, and it's been 30 years. There are no leads. If you have any leads, come on. I don't want to see that happen. I want to know what happened in this case. Let's see what y'all are saying. Yeah, yeah. It's the publishing for me. Unless, I don't know. Unless there's more to the story than that. I mean, I think it's horrendous to share those kind of pictures. But whatever. And what do y'all think? Just off the cuff, what do you think about this situation? Have you been watching Lily and Jack, the two little kids that are missing? I think it's in Nova Scotia. I have my definite opinions about that one. Don't know if I'll cover that or not, but that's horrific. But yeah, I think y'all um, that this is a case that needs to be talked about, needs to be brought up, it needs to be remembered, so that it's not easy for the information to just disappear. You know, whatever happened, whatever is, whoever is responsible, we need to know. And it needs to be public, not because, when people don't ask questions and they don't keep it alive, um, nobody ever gets the answers. They're like, oh well, these are sealed. Oh, the autopsy's sealed. Oh, we're looking, we're investigating. Oh yeah, we hadn't forgot. We're still investigating. And actually, nobody is doing anything. That happens a lot. It does. It's like, is it easy? Did somebody call in and give information, and they're just going to walk in and tell you, or are you going to have to go out and look for it? Because sometimes that makes a lot of difference. And when you have public pressure saying, "Hey, we want some answers here," and that's what I'm saying. I want some answers. I want to know what happened to these guys, because it's not okay. It's not okay that two college students miss a plane, miss their plane and end up in the mountains the next day. It doesn't matter to me unless it has to do with the case. I don't care about the racial aspect. I'm like, these are people. These are people and families that deserve answers, and a crime that we need to know. We need to know. Because was it just towards them? Was it personal? Or is there some maniac out here? What if it was a carjacking? What if there's a crazy person? He's taking people into the mountains and unaliving them. Like, we need to know this stuff. Everybody needs to know. So yeah, what do y'all think? um, yeah, Lily and Jack case kind of reminds me of Sebastian Rogers. It does a little bit. It's being called the Canadian Summer Wells case. That Lily and Jack. Yeah, it might. I hope not. I hope we. I have some very strong opinions in that case. Really, really strong opinions. I probably shouldn't say, but Summer Wells. I have some definite opinions on that. Although there seems to be, in Summer's case, it seems to be there is a lot of underlying nefarious things that could have happened. In Lily and Jack's case, I don't think so. So far, I think it's pretty cut and dried. Actually, um, if you, I don't know if you watch Deception Detective, but it's very interesting. Watch what he says on Sebastian Rogers and also on Summer Wells and Lily and Jack. I mean, it's a good education. I'm telling you. But I don't. Yeah, I don't want to see this case go be swept under the rug. It's not right. Imagine y'all people, Delphi people, which most of you are. Imagine what would have happened if people had not jumped up and started talking about Delphi and keeping it on YouTube and on the chat groups and Reddit and all that. Imagine what would have happened in Libby and Abby's case. They probably wouldn't even arrested anybody. They probably would have just let it go cold, and that's the end of that. That's my opinion. And here she is. My Sachi. So yeah, it's important. We collectively, I don't mean just me because I'm up here talking, because it's you. It's you. I could talk to myself in a room and get as much help. It's you, the the people that listen, the people that share, the people that talk, the people that, you know, are asking for answers, we to collectively are the ones that keep this in the public eye and say, hey, no, this is not good enough. Saying we don't know is not good enough. What about this? What about that? The smartest people I know are in the chat and on this channel asking some crazy questions and bringing up some stuff I never thought about. So yeah, I'm just gonna say I think this is something that we should make a little bit of noise about because it's not okay. Um, it's not okay, and also it's springtime. If there is somebody out there who is planning on doing something like this again, nobody's safe. All right, so let's think about that. Uh, yes, organic nature. Of course. Ellie is waiting on toxicology. Not just toxicology. I think they just said other forensic evidence. So that could be please release anything to anyone. Yeah. I mean, I think this is important. There are a lot of important cases, but definitely this is one to watch. So I'm going to be watching that. Um, and really don't know what I'm doing. For the people who wanted Brain Bungler on here with me, I'm trying to work out a time where we can get together. I am a lot going on at work, which makes my schedule almost impossible to predict. But I just want y'all to know I appreciate you all so much for being here. For the replay, if you are on the replay crew, please like and say replay so I know that you saw it. And here we go. Well, I think on this note, I'm about to let Sachi take over and call it. I will see you soon. I'm not sure where or when, but I'll let you know. And I'm definitely on my other channel. Not as much, but still there. If you like spooky stories, check out Spooky Southern Tea, and you'll see Sachi a lot on there too. Love you all. Be safe out there. Keep this story in the forefront. Talk to people, whatever, especially if you're from the South. Let's ask some questions. All right. I'll see you later. Whatever you do, stay safe out there. And stay silky. Bye-bye.